Lucas.
Lucas.
I prefer Lucas.
Okay, Lucas. Have you ever heard of the genre of French house music?
French house music. No, I can't say that I have.
Who? No.
French house music. Have you heard of that genre? No.
No, dude. That sounds stupid. Like dumb.
Have you ever heard of French house music?
I have not heard of French house music, actually.
No.
What is French house music?
No, I
no, I don't know what the
No.
Okay.
I haven't listened to it. I've heard of it, I guess.
Nope.
Never have I? No, never.
No, I've never heard of that.
And have you ever heard of the artist FKJ?
FKJ. No, I have not.
No. Okay.
No. I have not.
So that's gonna be a no.
No, I have not.
Vincent Fenton, also known as French Kiwi Juice, was born in March 26, 1990 in Tours, a city in France. At a really young age, he immersed himself in music from his parents' libraries. Bands including Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Queen, and jazz artists like Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, and Miles Davis. During this time, we saw a new genre of music form called French house. French house, also known as French touch or filter house, is a style of music originally created and performed by French musicians during the 1990s. FKJ would fall in love with this type of music and started to compose songs at the age of 13. At 14, he recorded his first track in his uncle's studio. Although his music can be linked to the new scene of French electronic music, he describes his work as a mix of hip-hop and funk with influence by jazz and soul. He went on to study sound engineering in a film school, then released his first single, Lying Together, in 2013, followed by 2 EPs, A Time for Change in 2013 and Take Off in 2014. Both of them welcomed a small but growing fan base. Vincent released French Kiwi Juice on March 3, 2017, under Rocher Music, which is an independent electronic music label founded in Paris in 2012.
Rocher Music helped FKJ release French Kiwi Juice, which is now internationally gold certified and also platinum with the Better Give You Up single. Much like his live sets, which feature an abundance of sound, samples, riffs, and notable skill, the construction of each song is assembled like blocks to the full product and a climactic moment in its chorus, like on premiere single Better Give You Up or Kangoo.
The funky twang of the guitar chords flick in and out underneath clean, fluctuating synth, wailing saxophone, and the drums kick hard to satisfy a bass riff, time and time again. However, songs that break the mold come into limelight, like Vibin' Out, a standout showcase of his beloved friend and future wife, Jane Morisi, also known as, who is featured as ad-lib and harmony throughout the album. The ballad's soulful performance is soft and dreamy and expands the vocals of the album to a great degree, emphasizing the production value and choices made as well. I've come to realize that every one of Vincent's songs have a really touching backstory, or really deep meaning to it. His last song in French Kiwi Juice, Why There Are Boundaries, addresses a problem as to why there are boundaries, to further illustrate his point. However, he's created a stunning and poignant visual to accompany his political song. In the song itself, we find FKJ taking on the voice of a child, asking authorities in his life one simple question: why are there boundaries? The Ponderance is set to lush, melancholy production featuring bluesy guitar and layered, vocalized harmony. Of course, over the course of the song, no one can answer this one simple question, mainly because there isn't one that's good enough.
tell me why, yeah. Why all their boundaries. Ask my dad, but he couldn't tell me. Ask my mom, but she couldn't tell me, no. So please, teacher, explain to me why all their boundaries. So please, oh, please, teacher, tell me why all their boundaries. So please, oh, please, teacher, tell me why all their boundaries. I asked my neighbor, but he couldn't tell me. I asked my grandma, but she couldn't tell me, no. So please, teacher, explain to me why all their boundaries, yeah.
FKJ further drives this point home in the video, filming in Tijuana, Mexico near the US-Mexico border. The video explores the terrain through breathtaking, sweeping shots that highlight the differences on either side of the border. But perhaps the most interesting shot is the parting one. It shows the roaring waves of the ocean with a fence that juts out into it, ending abruptly in the middle and perhaps proving the futility of such measures. If you've heard Tadow by Masego and FKJ, then you probably know their mutual love for electronic and jazz music. The main message of the song was to let aspiring musicians know that it's okay to let loose and go with the creative flow. Masego and FKJ met at Lollapalooza, but beforehand knew about each other's works and loved it. After watching Masego perform on stage, FKJ booked a venue in Paris and invited Masego to drop by. Since Masego had a flight to leave to the next morning, they only had one day to record the song. The first half was them introducing themselves to each other and brainstorming how to go about the song, and the second half was them scraping all the ideas and just deciding to go with the creative flow. The whole song in one take. FKJ started off by looping a couple of instruments, and Masego added onto it. In an interview with Anna Monroy from the Grammys, FKJ states, "That was really truly just an improvised song. It was probably the 8 luckiest minutes of our lives so far, because it really changed everything for us. All the rhythms are relatively simple and there's a lot of repetition, but the way the layers fit together just make perfect sense." According to FKJ, the song was made in just 8 minutes. Perhaps Tadow can be a message for all aspiring musicians. Go with your gut. Do what feels right. To quote Masego on his thoughts on creating music, most times, too much thinking isn't necessary. Cut!
watching a Fresh Prince episode. It was Fresh Prince, well, Will, having this night with this older woman named Janice. And he went back to the house trying to tell Uncle Phil what went down, and his way of describing that whole experience was Tadow.
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 Like, I loved that term. And so when I got to the studio, I landed in Paris. That's the first thing that I'm freestyling about.
Oh, I saw her and she hit me like that. Saw that thing so beautiful. That she just hit my heart. Oh, that full force and she got me like that. I be like that, baby. Why you so fine?
Collecting different things in your spirit, and then they release when they feel the time to. You know, I just got off the plane, and so I got my passport in my hand, so I'm like, all right, we gonna rock with this. I'm looking around, I'm trying to find the first prop to use to elevate that thing. It's like, okay, wow, what's around me? There was a water bottle, there was a Red Bull can, there was this passport, and so my mind just flowing. The drums are in at that point. I played that with the SPD, playing the saxophone on the same saxophone that I got when I was in middle school, so I love the tone of that. I believe that's a Jupiter. And I think I'm also the only person in the world that can make it sound good, personally. Because that's not an amazing saxophone. I think Selmers and Cannonballs sound beautiful, but Jupiter, you gotta push something dope out of that.
Ylang Ylang was FKJ's first EP. After hearing Vincent's previous album, Ylang Ylang might come off as a bit of a surprise. The EP is way more relaxed and calming compared to his other performances. In a post, FKJ states that this EP was named after the Ylang Ylang room, where 6 of the tracks were made. Surrounding this room, there was nothing but yet everything. Mountains, forest, rivers, but no internet, no Wi-Fi signal, no electricity. The EP is named after the SE Asian jungle town, where he had lived for 6 months this past year. FKJ had one single goal in mind at the time, to score his own adventure. And without a doubt, Ylang Ylang fulfills this goal. I feel this album has much more of a cinematic and symphonic feel to it. Even though some say this doesn't sound like FKJ, there's still plenty of nuances that make this project uniquely FKJ's, like the swirly loops, lofty slides, and soft piano arrangements. When listening to songs like Brother and Earthquake, some may say that they feel like they're watching a movie surrounded by mountains and oceans. But Wows's solo project sees FKJ drive into more smoother jazz compositions and velvety melodies. FKJ released his new album, Just Piano, a couple months ago. During the recent pandemic, he's recorded several live recordings from his home, which can be found on this new album. Most of the songs are instrumentals that are very calming to listen to. The project highlights FKJ's passion for music as therapy, demonstrating his versatility with instrumentation. FKJ is only a couple of hours away from releasing his next major album, Vincent. He released the teaser song, Greener, in collaboration with the world-famous Santana. Personally, I'm really excited for this new album because he has collaborations with a whole bunch of other artists.
To conclude this entire documentary, I feel that FKJ is an extremely underrated artist. He aims not to have a phase about wanting to please people. In an interview, he states that if you're really doing you, 100% of your music is going to be unique. If you're too afraid of doing you, then you're just going to get lost in the mass. That to me defines pure creativity. His songs are full of emotion and have a real deep meaning, which can sometimes be really touching.
Among other things, I've been making this album. What is this album about? It's about looking for a way out of the adult mind. Well, here I am, not being able to move much, with limited choices, pretty much like when I was a kid, But where did my innocence go? Is it all in the head? Let's pretend I know nothing then. Like when I first started, let's do it just for the play. Steady now, but no one wanna talk. Depending on us all, cause your mission didn't work out. You didn't know time would slip this fast.